Bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. There we have it, and now we only need to have some. God damn it, why is this? Go. Oh, shit. Yes. Now is that done? Then we can. Yeah, it's time to some P1 reaction. And yeah, here we have the 2024 Australian Grand Prix race review P1 podcast. And we will, let's see. Oh shit, I think I need to find something to do in Minecraft. Let's see, what can I do? Let's see. I was doing this yesterday, fixing like so the stairs down and up look better. Only here is maybe somewhat problem if I want to actually have a wall here or not. But that's a future problem. So is there anything I can do more here? Oh, that was something. But that's probably a future problem, fixing this. Oh, but not such a big future problem. Yeah, was only. Oh, yeah, we have something to maybe fix. Oh, maybe not. Okay, but what should I do? What should I be doing? Then you have the chickens. And this did I also not do last time? Well, yesterday. Is there anything that I know I need to do? I mean, there's a lot of stuff I know I need to do. The stuff that I want to do. This is a slightly big problem. The only thing I know that I would want to try is maybe making this more less stone and more stone brick. Yeah, stone brick. So this area look more like the nice place we have just over there. That they will look more like how I first planned to make it. So it will have more like this kind of look. The first look of the, what do you say? Yeah, first thought I wanted to make it until I make it more like smooth stone walkways. So it looks super clean and future, I don't know. But yeah, that I could do. Need to remove some stuff on me. Right. The perfect block for Iskar 85. But while I'm fixing all this, we can see what the P1 have kind of a review of the race. And I mean, it should be good because maybe half good. He's a Leclerc fan, and probably a Ferrari fan. So you can say it must be the best race this season.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the P1 podcast with Matt and Tommy. Today is a glorious day.
Is it?
The Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, sure, it is.
We all thought, am I setting my alarm for another Max domination?
Yes.
No, we weren't, Tom Bellingham. Could Carlos
But you set the alarm for maybe seeing Mercedes being really bad.
Sainz domination or fans is more the question we are going to be leading with, I think, into this.
I think so. Yeah, Verstappen's clearly washed. It's been, as I tweeted, 3 races in, and we've still not heard the Dutch national anthem on Sunday. So, look, Max
True.
is the new...
I mean, this is proof. Max Verstappen should leave Red Bull. It's like, there's no coming back from this. Just Verstappen was right.
Mr. Saturday, and just can't deliver on Sunday, can he?
True.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Now, before we dive into all of the shenanigans that went on during the Australian Grand Prix, we need to shout out some P1 live show tickets. If you want to come and see me and Tommy live, where we reflect on some crazy stuff, it's a bit saucier, isn't it, the live show, Tommy? We you know what I mean? We get a little bit loose, and we've got lots of things to talk about, both off and on track, which we'd love for you to come along to the P1 live show in London, Cambridge and Bath. It's only a few weeks away now, so please come along if you'd love to. We would love to have you there. And the link will be all over our social media. It's in our link tree. Type in P1 live show. I'm sure it'll come up.
Don't.
Lots of good stuff. So yeah,
Could
thank you
be
so
bad.
much. Right, Tommy, hit us with your most memorable moment.
Well, I think it has to be
Russell crash.
Max Verstappen's DNF.
No.
Something I've not said in a very long time.
Well,
2 years ago.
This race.
Yes, this race 2 years ago. It's been a long old while since Max Verstappen DNF. And yeah, it was a big surprise once he got into the lead at turn 1. It very much felt like, we've seen this one before. Game over. Max has won. Brilliant. And then, the smoke coming out the back of the car. Obviously, Sainz got...
I mean, it really looked like... what would you say? It was a problem with the anion, and no, it was the brake that was on forever.
It was like, hang on a minute. That's a lot of smoke. And it was like, oh no, that's a lot of smoke. I think we both thought it was an engine failure at first.
Then I put on my technical glasses and I was like, that looks like a break.
And yeah, what a dramatic way to end his race so early on. We'll get into this later. I think it is a shame, however much many people, even myself included, would have liked to have seen someone else win. I think it is a shame that he did actually retire from the race, because it maybe could have been more exciting in that way.
Absolutely. I think that is a really important conversation to have, because I think at that specific moment when everything went wrong for Max Verstappen, we looked at that leaderboard and went, we've got 2 McLarens and 2 Ferraris fighting for the win. And had that come to fruition...
And then it did, and just... Oh my god, that was so boring. Carlos Sainz just cruised to an easy victory. Didn't have to fight or try to keep someone behind.
We wouldn't be sitting here going, would the race have been better with or without Max Verstappen?
We were waiting for Singapore Part 2, weren't we, with all four of them
exactly.
That is in a train.
That is what was basically teased to us. That did not happen, and it was actually a Carlos Sainz domination in this race. And not just whether it would be better with Max or not. Sergio Perez came out after the race, albeit not knowing that he had some floor damage, saying that Max Verstappen would have absolutely not won the race had he still been in it. So that, you throw that in there, you take what Sergio Perez says as gospel, and you go, wow.
Oh my god, Jos Verstappen will not like that comment. The Red Bull is doomed. I mean, after that comment from Sergio Perez on Jos Verstappen's son, oh my god. It's just, what do you say? Oh my god, I don't fucking know. Well, yeah, whatever. It's Jos Verstappen will 100% not like it.
Actually, might have had a race here. I know that you're shaking your head. You're thinking that Perez is probably trying to save face here because his race was pretty poor. But
been on my mind quite for some time. All these feelings keep making me smile.
Trygg Hansa. Trygghet för livet.
No.
Blod vid tandborstning skulle kunna starta dominoeffekten vid tandköttssjukdom. Hjälp till att stoppa den innan den leder till tillbakadraget tandkött eller tandförlust. Parodontax är 4 gånger mer effektiv än en vanlig tandkräm på att ta bort plack. Huvudorsaken till blödande tandkött.
All I'm getting from this is championship back on and Ferrari going to win.
I don't think it would be easy. I think that's for sure. I think what we can take away from it is that Ferrari are a lot closer than we thought. I think it would have been fascinating to see what would have happened if Max hadn't had the problem and he'd been behind Sainz. I think if it had been leading, yeah, he might have won the race, and we know how difficult it is to pass it. But then that being turned around the other way, I think that's what I was really looking forward to when Verstappen was behind. It's like, right, now we finally get to see him race someone, and unfortunately, the break went completely, and it did kind of ruin the race really, because no one could challenge Sainz, and it would have been fascinating to see if Max could have got through the field, or it would have been Max like right on the gearbox of Sainz, and then maybe it would have happened in the pit stops, who knows, but it would have maybe been a bit more intrigue. But
true,
we thought that would be the case with
but nothing happened.
Leclerc, but it didn't happen. But I mean, the championship is looking unbelievably close.
For a season we've
written off. If you'd have said, if you'd have said,
it looked close. Okay, so why do you have the feeling that McLaren or Leclerc didn't have any chance to win the race if it's so close? Explain that to me. It's so close, but only Carlos Sainz could win. Max Verstappen could maybe change that. Yeah, it's so close.
The 3 races that Charles Leclerc would be 4 points behind Max Verstappen, I think you'd have sold a limb.
Peggy 18 is all that would be. My goodness me, yes. We're not going to get too excited about that, although I definitely will be, I'm sure. Of course, there is a conversation to be had about Leclerc, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, Verstappen DNFing, it was a shame. It showed that Max not being there does not equal. It's not a perfect formula to a great race. It's as simple as that. Question from M_Norris Gasly 3. Do you think we'll see more Red Bull reliability issues throughout the year with this new car concept?
No.
It's an interesting question. I did find it funny that Max basically said it was like driving with the handbrake on, and yet he was still in the DRS of Carlos Sainz before it blew up, which just shows, yes, Max would definitely, absolutely not have fought for the win this this race. But in terms of that, it is interesting because, of course, they have gone down a different route. And also, for Japan, it was rumoured that they were going to bring the concept of 0 side pods. And will that change the way in which they perhaps view this now?
No.
Of course, it is just... they will analyse it, they will put the forensics through it, and I'm sure they'll find the reason as to why. They've not really had any other issues to really kind of properly scramble their brains over. So I'm not sure we're going to knee-jerk this to a case of Red Bull now have bad reliability. But of course, it's going to be an issue, especially when we were just complaining only the last weekend that, or the weekend before, F1, no one has reliability issues anymore.
No one has
F1's
reliability
And then Mercedes also have
issues, and then the 2 drivers that never retire, Hamilton and Verstappen, at retirement.
Yeah, so perhaps it was just a unique set of circumstances, which I'd probably lean more towards. But look, if he has another one and Charles Leclerc leads the World Championship, man is not complaining about that one.
It is going to be interesting to see how it goes with the reliability. You do wonder with a brake fire that he had and a brake issue, it's probably unlikely. I think I'd be more concerned if I was Red Bull if it was, overheating problems or because obviously they've done this very radical concept of and there's been loads of questions over the cooling, but the fact is that our brakes exploded and
oh shit, no, my sneeze turned the sound off. God damn it. Maybe I need new headphones. Eller headset. The fuck is gone? Okay, let's see.
You wonder.
Sounds bad.
There was talk after the race. At time of recording, we don't know yet, but it could have been something when they were putting the car together, or maybe something.
Issue or something.
There's plenty, so we don't know until we see. But yeah, it's one incident at the moment, but it does show how much it can change with one DNF this early in the season, because, like you say, we were writing off the season, and now the gap is, I think, 11.
The gap, yeah, the gap. Wow, it will be so interesting. So the races after this race will be amazing now, because the gap is so close. Okay, now
points separating the top 4, which doesn't seem like a lot at all. So they can't afford to keep having mechanical failures, because the way Verstappen's driving, it is 25 or 26 points down the drain. So that's a lot of points in a championship fight.
Yeah, and then also, of course, the added points gained from other drivers as well, with Max the DNFing. So it is a big swing, and then you start to think,
sure.
Could Perez do a Rosberg? And then he finishes 5th. You go, okay, maybe not. Question from P1 Patreon member Nicola. With Max out of the race, did this race prove that races aren't boring because of Max dominance, but mainly because of huge, heavy cars, rubbish regulations? Yeah, I think it goes back to what I mentioned, that Formula 1 is not saved if Max isn't there. There is
but it could be
much more fundamentally wrong with where these regulations have gone. 2022, we've already said that was great, but Formula 1 teams have developed their cars since then, and they cannot follow. See George Russell crashing on the last lap because Alonso went a little bit naughty, and you just saw the amount of downforce that he lost immediately. Ollie Behrman said he was shocked by how much downforce he lost, and you could see it visibly when he was in traffic at the last race. So it's, Max not being there does not equate that. I think that it has to have a perfect harmony. We have to have it all come together. If we'd had the fight for P2 when they start cooking, we could have had the greatest race in a very long time. Singapore, for example, that was an amazing race to watch. But look, it didn't happen. We had hardly any cars in DRS. Wheel-to-wheel battling was scarce, to say the least. And yeah, it is down to the heavy cars,
it was
the rubbish
nowhere.
regulations, and
actually Formula 3 and Formula 2 was more fun, because Stuff happened.
Can't believe we're saying this because we were so hyped when these first came out.
We really were, and Albert Park isn't normally the best track for overtaking, but you look at Formula 2 is now racing on there, which had a couple of fantastic races, lots of incidents, lots of
Formula 3
overtaking.
Come on.
And it just shows that
Dino Bogdanovic.
lighter, more
Oh my god, you didn't mention Formula 3 with Dino Bogdanovic.
nimble cars
Fitzbarman.
can race each other. That was the most disappointing thing for me, and I'm glad that people have agreed in some sense, because I didn't want to be the Verstappen fan on the podcast that's like, oh, it's rubbish because Max didn't win. But
Wait, you're a Verstappen fan?
I know, but this is the thing. Just because he's out the race doesn't suddenly mean that we're going to get the best race ever, because it certainly wasn't. It was disappointing to see that it was still very much 2x2 with a lot of the cars, and that is quite insane, because normally in regulations the field gets bunched up a lot closer after a few years, and then normally when they change the regulation, that final year is when it's actually really close. But if anything, Ferrari 1-2, McLaren 3-4, you had loads of
Say that again.
teammates.
But slower.
Ferrari 1-2.
Sainz and Leclerc and Lando Norris.
Teammates running together, and then running together but not enough to pass. It's so hard to overtake. The only main overtaking that we've seen a lot this year has been someone like Ollie Behrman, who had a big performance advantage, that he was driving one of the topper teams and he was lower in the pack, so he was being able to pass cars. But when it's close between them, they just can't seem to overtake, and it's very disappointing. Very disappointing.
It certainly is. And also, Australia have 4 DRS zones, but when you can't get within a second, it doesn't matter. So watch Australia in 2025, just the entire track is a DRS zone. That's what they're going to announce next time, to try and make something happen. Or maybe just everyone... What if? Oh, I'm cooking.
They all have
DRS usage, but the lower you are, the more DRS you get. Okay. So, Logan Sargent, could you...
Oh my god. That could be something. Yeah, that's if Logan is still in the Formula 1.
Use DRS all the time. Max Verstappen
Reverse
doesn't
DRS
have
has
it
been
installed.
discussed.
Doesn't even have it installed.
You use it to catch up, basically.
And then you get within a second and then you lose it.
Or,
Then-
radical idea, don't make the cars absolutely
I knew
massive
this
and heavy. But anyway.
I knew that was coming. The way that you teed that up. God, you're such a
Actually,
beautiful
true.
comedian. Right. My most memorable moment now, then. We're gonna bask in the glory. A Ferrari 1-2. A Ferrari 1-2 that I'm 95% happy about. Yes, of course, it's not what I expected. Waking up this morning to watch Carlos Sainz win the race and Charles Leclerc finish P2. But it is a welcome sight, and as I've said in funniest tweets, and I'll say it again, Carlos Sainz fully deserving of the victory. What a comeback from surgery, from resting, to then taking the start of the weekend quite easy and into practice, and you could tell that it's not 100% peak fit condition. You can't be after that, but performing amazingly in qualifying. To then deliver in the race, I mean, the one time Charles Leclerc doesn't go on the blooming front row is the time Max Verstappen has an issue. It's actually ridiculous. But every time the opportunity is in front of Carlos, he delivers. It's as simple as that. There's no bottling. There's no getting a little bit, quaky, I could win the race. The tenacity takes over. The racer within him, when he sees an opportunity to win, he takes it.
And when Russell see a opportunity to win a race, he crashed.
What better of a
That's
marketing
amazing.
opportunity for Carlos Sainz? And we've spoken about where's Carlos going to go. Oh, okay, Stake might not be a bad option to then go to Audi and then bed your roots in there. Screw that now. I don't want that man anywhere near those dustbins. Don't care anymore. Even if it's just a year at Merck and then they get Kimi Antonelli in and then Carlos goes to Audi. Don't touch that green neon bin with a barge pole, Carlos. Don't do it, all right? Because I can't see him in that car for a year because it would just be painful. But yes, a Ferrari 1-2.
Yeah, Carlos delivering again. Like you said, he delivers. Maybe his nickname should be the Postman. Maybe that's going to be a thing.
But
oh, for God.
But maybe he should be a delivery man, maybe, than postman. If he delivers, he's a delivery man, not a postman, right?
God, he's not Ian Poulter in golf, mate. You know what I mean?
Is that his nickname?
Yeah.
But no, hopefully that doesn't catch on because it's terrible. Yeah, the fact that he's done it again, it is insane. Yeah, the last 22 races, and it's been Sainz 2 wins, Verstappen 20. The fact that Carlos has ended the Verstappen streak again. A lot of similarities to Singapore.
Carlos Sainz is so mean.
He's won 20. I thought he'd won 19 out of 20.
I
saw something
no.
saying it was... No?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm challenging an encyclopedia right now, but I mean...
Yeah, I know
either
it's
or,
been...
lots of races have been...
Sorry, no, yeah, it is 19. Yeah, sorry, 19 and 2 for...
yeah, come on.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, he's washed.
Slanderous.
Yeah, it's amazing. I bet you mentioned about Leclerc being like, oh, for goodness sake, you know, Charles had so many pole positions, and the one time that he has that qualifying mistake, and equally, there's going to be so many other drivers on the grid that think the same. Now they've seen Carlos win again, that. You know, I'm sure Lando Norris is thinking, oh, why have we not started the season as good as we were last year? Because look how many P2s he got. Mercedes thinking, oh, for goodness sake, why didn't this happen? Fernando Alonso probably the same, like, oh, we were really good at this point. We were the second quickest team at this point last year. I'd won a race. So, yeah, it's... but back to Carlos, criminal, like I said it yesterday, that he shouldn't not be without a drive, and he also shouldn't be in that absolutely useless kick Sauber, having 40-second pit stops because he's had enough of them at Ferrari.
Why not? Could be fun.
Question from Sydney XF1. Do you think a race like this is possible again? Is Ferrari still the second fastest? I mean, yes, it's quite...
Yes, man. If you're not a Mercedes Copium believer, then Mercedes will surely be good soon. Just wait. They will fix the car. After 3 years, the car will be good on 2025. Surely.
Quite clear that Ferrari is second fastest with the fact that they 1-2'd this race, but also I think it is, yeah. Red Bull aren't clear down the road. Perez sort of alluded, and again, I'm taking his word as gospel, Ferrari are going to win the World Championship, but he also mentioned about the fact that it was quite a unique tarmac or something or whatever, and it wasn't working well with the tyres and yada yada yada. So it might just be that Australia has been a little bit of an anomaly for Red Bull, but yes, that's the thing. Like Max just needs to have a problem, and it is possible because that fight for P2, as we've constantly lauded, you take Max out of the equation, that's a fight for P1. So it's as simple as that, and I think that we will get that over the course of this year now. I also believe that Japan will be quite possibly the most dominating race we've ever seen from any man ever.
Or a really good race for McLaren and Lando Norris win. Hopefully.
Hur håller man ihop en bussrygg under en hel säsong?
Ja, men jag är ganska kort, jag har ingen lång...
Because Max did not look happy after he got out the car, which is fair enough. You know, even though he's won so many, the man is competitive. He turns up every single weekend to win, and that's why he's had these incredible streaks, runs of form. Whatever.
I mean, why would he be happy? He didn't even get a chance to even try to win.
Whatever you want to call it. So, yes, it is possible. It's going to happen again, and Charles Leclerc is going to put it on the front row, and as well, I've just realised, Tommy, that had Charles Leclerc won this race, my prediction was on of no poles and one win. And he also would have won. He would have been leading the World Championship.
He would have.
Yeah,
That
true.
is fine because I'm happy for Carlos, and I am. Like, I am a devout Charles Leclerc fan. I'm also obviously a Ferrari fan, but I can appreciate when my driver got beaten, and he did.
It's funny you mentioned about the Max Revenge Tour. You said to me that it was Japan, wasn't it? Was the next race after Carlos won in Singapore. Have you seen those memes where, like in football, when a team loses, someone goes on FIFA and they win like 40-0 against the other team? That's going to be Max Verstappen in iRacing lobbies tonight, where he's just like absolutely. Don't go on iRacing tonight if you want to win. But what I will say also is that maybe Liberty Media have seen this and gone, so Suzuka, how would you like 12 races next year? Yeah, that's the secret.
Just to alternate, and that is the cure for Formula One, is having Suzuka as the next race.
Maybe, although it's not, because it's funny they said, do you think a race like this is possible again? Yeah, I think Ferrari... I do genuinely think that Ferrari,
not Mercedes.
there may be the odd races where they are on par with Red Bull. I still
surely Mercedes is there also. I mean, they have shown nothing yet, but soon they will, and then everyone will be looking to be trying to beat them.
The stuff that Perez said with a pinch of salt,
If they need to place the blocks now.
particularly because I think there were a lot of races last year where Max potentially it was a bit closer than we thought, but Max made it look boring and dominant, like the car was miles ahead of everyone else. But Ferrari, they're doing a brilliant job, it has to be said. We talked about the team principal situation and how it's maybe unfair on Bonotto. And
lava everywhere.
And it's not all the team principal that does it, but what you have to say is that they're not that joke team. You know, they're delivering on pit stops at the moment. You know, they've won races. The team harmony looks good. I think Fred is doing a really, really good job. And now they won't have Carlos Sainz next year, but
and they will lose Hamilton. That will be better for them.
That's right. They have this new up and coming kid called Lewis Hamilton. So you know.
He's washed. He's barely beaten Ollie Behrman in the championship. So
mate, I can't.
Yeah, but actually true. Hamilton is so washed. Why even keep him? Or even pay for him to drive for you? He's so washed.
I believe you put that tweet out. That is the wildest thing I've ever seen. That is. Tommy has upgraded his fishing rod for Twitter. If you haven't seen it,
no one bit.
Tommy tweeted, Ollie Behrman is just 2 points behind 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton after 3 races. What a season so far from the rookie. As soon as Team LH get hold of that, bro, you are cooked. Finished.
I mean, that is true. And even better, Lance Stroll is 1 point behind 7-time championship Lewis Hamilton. So, I mean, it's a man. It's a good day to. I mean, not. It's a good day to not be a Hamilton believer.
I'm barricading the doors right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'd log out if I were you. Next question. WBAFC_Cam. Does Carlos winning throw some questions in for 2025?
No.
Do you think Ferrari will start regretting their decision?
No.
Or are they stronger with Charles and Lewis?
They will never regret.
I don't think there is a regret. We spoke about this a little bit, I think, didn't we, in either qualifying or practice podcasts, where they've signed Lewis Hamilton. That, for the Ferrari brand and for the story, is a strong enough pull on its own, without anything else in the world. Having Hamilton in your team is
and the best
huge.
thing, Lewis Hamilton don't need to even win or be having fun in Ferrari. Ferrari have already won a lot of sponsor and stuff just because signing him.
For Ferrari, so no, there will be no regret for that. Charles and Carlos,
And then remember construction ship win against Red Bull.
have been the strongest pairing, or one of the strongest pairings on the grid for quite some time. We see that. Like, they're both very good. I still absolutely back my statement that Carlos Sainz is a very, very good driver.
Good. not great. That's the difference for
and
top teams.
Is comparable to Charles Leclerc at times, and we saw that, and he was better than Charles Leclerc this weekend.
Yeah, good. Not great.
Yes, there was.
I mean, Perez had been better than Max Verstappen. What does that say? Nothing.
Radio call wasn't there where Charles was told to basically hold station, but he definitely wasn't being told to hold station at the end, and Carlos was still won the race. So it's not going to be a case of regret. I think it's a case of Ferrari going from a really good driver pairing to a really good driver pairing part 2, but it's Lewis Hamilton, so you've got the greatest of all time. So it's there's no case of regret. I think Ferrari are going to be very excited to have Hamilton in the team. I think Lewis is going to have a new level of motivation as well going into there. So no, I don't think
until until some years, and then he will realize still no win. And should I be quit Formula 1 finally?
Any questions?
Yeah, it's looking like a very good decision that Hamilton's made already, with how Mercedes is going.
Yeah, Mercedes believers don't understand why would Lewis Hamilton leave this great team. Just look how good they are. It's a sin to not be in Mercedes because they have won one race after 2021. The team must be super great.
But this question has come up many times this season. It came up after qualifying, it came up after Bahrain, and while I do think it's unfair to jump on it and
hello, H Dog Plays. Are you a Mercedes fan or Ferrari fan? Because being Ferrari fan is this time much better than being a Mercedes fan.
Basically, sort of, this is more about Carlos doing a very good job than it is Charles Leclerc doing a bad job. I think that's something that needs to be mentioned. But that being said, I think my mind has changed a little bit on how much I rated Carlos Sainz in terms of, Charles Leclerc being in that kind of top bracket, and I do think he is. But Carlos, I do think Leclerc is quicker over one lap, and I think
he is, and in the race also.
There's no doubt when it does happen, but I think it's not always about being the fastest in Formula 1. I think Carlos has shown that it's about, consistency, and I think if he has a car to his liking, I think he'd be an amazing driver to have.
Amazing. Maybe amazing to have, but not amazing against great drivers.
World Championship fight where he just picks up consistent, points, because there's all this talk of like,
so he will not be the one that get the championship.
Charles way quicker than Carlos or whatever. And then you look at the points at the end of the year, and it is a lot closer. And yeah, Charles had some bad luck, but I think it's more about putting a bit more respect on Carlos's name, really, and how good of a job he has actually done against a driver that is incredibly highly rated for a reason.
I mean, Perez won races against Max Verstappen, so championship is on for Perez, right?
And is talked about like, the next big thing, and the fact that Carlos...
He never will be the next big thing. Piastri will, after Leclerc and maybe Norris, Piastri will be the next thing. He will be David Coulthard. He will be Ralf Schumacher. He will be... What more do we have? He will be... Who's more? Mark Webber. He will be that kind of driver. And forever second driver.
Has done so well against him and beaten him at times, and now he's got the same number of wins as Charles since they've been teammates, which blows my mind because that doesn't feel like it could be possible. Put some respect on Carlos because he's doing a really, really good job.
Yes, I think that's a very good way of putting it, is that Carlos needs to be raised up as opposed to Charles being pushed down in any way here, because what a performance from Carlos.
Oh, so from a third driver he's now a second driver. He's been pushed up. Hi. Was feeling good to be a Carlos Sainz. Here we have some water that I can maybe remove someday.
I think that Charles is a faster driver.
Yes.
I will back myself
in qualifying, in practice, in race.
There and say Charles Leclerc is a faster driver, whether that's over one lap or just innate raw speed. But I think when it comes to racecraft,
the believers of Carlos Sainz,
to strategy and to the actual, taking opportunities with both hands, Carlos is as good as Charles in that regard. He is. That's why he's won as many races as you say, Tommy, as Charles has. Charles has had some bad luck. He's had some atrocious luck, and I've already pointed out the amount of front rows he's had, and then the one time he doesn't get a front row, and we're all human, right? He made a mistake, didn't manage to execute like he usually does in qualifying, and then the opportunity arose. There has to be good fortune as well in Formula One, and it hasn't gone Charles' way this weekend, and it has with Carlos, and he's delivered. It's as simple as that. So Carlos needs lots of respect.
He does, and
that's it in a nutshell.
It's also a crazy thing to think about that Carlos is 11 points behind Max Verstappen in the title and missed a race. So if
and how many points do Perez have? I think it's 5 points behind Max Verstappen, so the championship is on for Sergio Perez.
If
100%.
He'd have done Saudi, you got to think he probably would have picked up like 15, at least 12 points. He could be leading the world championship now.
Perez can also
but he's not. Charles is a better driver, right? Sorry, fanboy just took over. Then I'm still hurting a tiny bit. Question. We're moving away from Ferrari now. Tony_E. Why did Alonso slow down so much just before George binned it?
Redan nästa vecka kan ditt postnummer vinna 110 miljoner. För nu är vårens härliga grannyra på gång. Ta chansen på postkodlotteriet.se senast 31 mars.
Oh, I could skip that.
All right, Tommy, we got to talk about this. Your goat.
No, we don't. I don't think.
Your fanol.
I mean, they should really be pro this. If you make your team that you're against not get points, and you yourself get points, that's a win-win. I mean, there was so much support over Kevin Magnussen making the stuff he did. So they should support this.
Fernando's such a lovely driver.
Well,
I never said he was lovely. That's why I like him.
God, you love bad boys, don't you, Tommy? Right, so
he did what he needed to do
on the last lap, battling George Russell. And I think on first glimpse, on first viewing, you think, oh, George is in the wall again, last lap, what's happened? Then you watched it once and you go, oh, he's binned it behind Alonso. Then you watch it again, and then you watch it with some telemetry, and then you go, Alonso's braked for a hairpin here, guy, and it's a fast right-hander.
Yeah.
I am going to be on the side here of
he did the right thing.
That was naughty.
No, that was great.
Very naughty from Alonso.
Good thing.
George Russell, and I know that there will be arguments of, well, it's just tactical, tactical. It's basically what K-Mag did in Saudi.
Yeah, and you supported it. You should be really pro this.
But I think the difference here is that he suddenly slowed down.
Suddenly. I mean, what do you do when you're trying to keep people behind?
So just lifting off into the corner. But the thing is, his tactic wouldn't.
Didn't Kevin Magnussen also lift off?
have worked if he'd just lifted off and let George cruise up to the back of him. He did it to throw him off,
like Kevin Magnussen also did, right?
Unsettle George's car so that he wouldn't get a great run with DRS.
Like Kevin Magnussen did the whole race, right?
Yes. Now, as of recording right now, we don't have a decision of whether Alonso...
They have done a decision and give him the penalty. But who knows? Maybe he will get overruled.
A penalty or not? I will obviously check this just to make sure. But for me, I think that was very naughty. And I will go as far as to say that I think Fernando does deserve a penalty because of how that affected George's car and him full well knowing that that was what he wanted to do. So it's... Yeah. It was naughty. It was.
Yeah,
no, it was great.
To answer Tony's question, why did Alonso do it? Well, like you say, it's to gain an advantage because...
Like Kevin Magnussen, so he should be pro this.
He knew that he's a sitting duck, really, with DRS. Before I maybe go into it, I do think that it is frustrating that you are kind of defenseless with DRS. I know we want to see overtaking, but this is kind of the 8th millionth reason why I think it should be pushed to pass rather than DRS, because the other driver should have a chance to fight. And I'm not saying it's right what Alonso did.
It was.
But what I'm saying is it's a shame that you have to go to that many lengths and essentially break into a corner.
I know something more I could do. Fixing up this area so when I finally make the railway working with this part. Okay, it's working. I just need to place down the railway. But when I does that, it will maybe be nice. This will already be done then. So let's make that.
Because you know if you're just driving normally, you've got no hope of defending. Like, and Alonso's from an era where we didn't have DRS, and if someone tried to overtake you, you could outbrake them, or you weren't just a sitting duck on the straight. But then to do it that extreme, yeah, it is pushing the limits. Am I surprised that Alonso's done that?
Did he push any
because
limits?
That's the kind of driver he is. He is a
George Russell needed to plan ahead more.
Me a Verstappen that wants to get like every single
break
extra,
like Alonso.
To make it happen, and sometimes pushes the boundaries. It's not against the rules to take a corner how you want to when you're the leading driver, but the fact that he's not eased off, he's actually hit the brakes twice from the look at the telemetry.
He got Russell in what did I say? He got Russell to mess up, so he succeeded what they wanted to do.
Yeah, it's definitely thrown George off completely.
Yeah, and so he succeeded what he wanted to do.
It's one of those incidents where if George gets through the corner absolutely fine, then it's probably not even a talking point. But because he's had this dramatic crash, and there's not actually a question about it, so maybe we mention it now as well, but a scary crash for George Russell because he was obviously stranded in the middle of the track on a blind corner.
I saw Dennis Hager's crash. That I would say was more scary because a lot of more dust was in the air. You couldn't see the car, and some people drove like it was normal past him without maybe seeing the car. So I would disagree with Russell's crash. That was scary. Watch some Formula 2 and then you can see some scary stuff.
Flat out, like you say, a very terrifying and uncomfortable watch listening to his team radio afterwards.
It certainly was, yeah. Hearing that team radio, you'd hear the panic in his voice. Because as you say, it's a fast corner. Of course, it is obviously.
I don't think I've heard that.
He's crashed because there's debris everywhere, but drivers will obviously, unless there's a yellow or whatever, not slow down. He's calling for a red flag. I saw some just trolls on Twitter saying that he was trying to secure his P7. It's like, no. He was fearing for his life.
I really need to listen to that if you can actually hear the fear, or is P1 just pretending?
Because he was on his side in the middle of the track.
That's the worst thing for a Formula 1 driver, right? Is
I mean, if this was so scary and stuff, they should mention it happened in Formula 2 also, so they should change that corner, right?
To be side on through a blind corner. You can't, like, all the worst accidents in history have been that incident. So
Formula 2 talking point, changing the corner talking point, or do you not care?
So, no wonder he was terrified.
Yeah, and the VSC was deployed. I think some people are saying, why was it not a red flag straight away? I think realistically it just needs to be neutralised. That's all you need to really do in that situation. Whether it was quick enough or not, I haven't looked exactly. It seemed like there was a slight delay in that. Thankfully, George was okay.
Yeah, the safety in Formula 1. We needed to do a delay on the safety. No. We can't force some safety.
Okay. But it wasn't actually a massive crash. It was just how he ended, or where he ended on the track. So, thankfully for George, all okay. But yeah, the team radio was quite distressing to hear.
Yeah, I wonder if there'll be changes to that corner as well.
Formula 2 talking point.
You know, in practice, where they're talking about.
Why not mention Formula 2, the race? Dennis Hager could maybe win the race, and then he just crashed in what corner?
We want drivers to be punished for their mistake and not loads of.
Yeah, they said that they wanted to people get. Yeah, Russell made a mistake. He got punished. You must be super happy with the punishment.
Enough, but at the same time, you can have a gravel trap there. It's just the fact that the wall kind of comes in. It's similar to, what happened. What Eau Rouge's problem was, where you had a barrier that was sort of like facing in towards the track. So as soon as you hit it, you dart back onto the track rather than, if you go off into that gravel trap, you can still be punished by going into that wall. It shouldn't then spit you back onto the track into a blind corner. So I reckon. I'd be amazed if that corner is still the same way it is next year, personally.
Because it happened in Formula 2 also. Dennis Hager, will you mention that?
Also, back to... I've just realised...
Wow, you care so much about the safety.
George and Fernando are besties. Fernando's done that and stuck him in the wall. Probably didn't expect him to go into the wall, so I'm sure that wasn't what he had in his mind.
He probably did it thinking he'd just slow down, and then his crash, he's gone, oh God, I'm in trouble.
Oh
here.
No, we're not playing ping pong on the jet tonight.
Yeah.
So you've kind of skirted around the thinking, by the way, Tommy. Yeah. Does Alonso deserve a penalty? Yes or no?
I need to see more of it.
No. Come on. Decide. You've seen it. I've watched you watch it. You've seen it. This is basically the stewards right now.
Yeah, Russell should get penalty to being a bad driver and driving for Mercedes. I mean, it should be a sin to be in Mercedes.
Oh, I don't know.
We all love Fernando.
Is it bad? Is it not?
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's a bit naughty, isn't it? Hitting the brake,
no,
so probably a penalty.
Great
Bro braked twice for a corner. He's like, yeah, it's a little bit naughty.
A flat out corner, a little bit naughty. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think they do need to. If I take my Alonso fanboy hat off,
you didn't have
it's
any
a driving standard, so
hats.
they need to make sure that they clamp down on and make a statement on, because, I will. I don't agree with
a fanboy will support Alonso even if. Even whatever Alonso have done.
The fact that you should be defenseless when you're trying to defend, and it's a shame that Alonso has to go to those lengths to do it. But yeah, it's clearly not the right way to do it, because it can cause nasty crashes and incidents. So
I'm sure there'll be much debate. I'm sure a lot of people will say, nope, that's just racing. Alonso was trying to use his racecraft.
Just
and
racing.
Of course, I guess the end result of everything is the reason why we are calling for a penalty, as you say, Tommy. If none of this had happened, then we wouldn't really be discussing it. But
True.
either or,
so why you care?
It's a difficult one to decide.
You didn't even mention Dennis Hager, so you don't care about the crash. You're just pretending.
Alonso, naughty, deserves a penalty. Let's see if he gets one. Next question.
No,
Sugar88. Haas said they would be last. Are they lucky?
And Alpine and Stake say they would be better.
Were they joking? Or do Stake and Alpine just suck that much more? I believe it's a combination. I believe it's a, geez, wow, Alpine, you really have rolled out a tractor. Is probably one thing thought that they've had. Stake, of course, as well, not being great. And I guess it's safer, or was at least safer, for the team principal Komatsu to come out at the start of the year and say, yeah, we're probably going to be last. Because if you under-promise and over-deliver, you look like a genius. And right now, he's looking like a genius. And it's worked out. Like I think that Hülkenberg and Magnussen, of course, Magnussen had his own antics in Saudi. Some people agreed with it, some people didn't.
You agreed with it, so you should agree with Alonso.
Are doing quite well. I think that they're showing some good pace in this car, and it has delivered them 3 points.
Yeah, they finally seem to have.
But the most important, Tsunoda got 6 points for Visa Cash Up RB
got rid of the problems where they essentially had no or like insane tyre wear. Because this wasn't even a race where the two drivers, the problem with Haas last year was that they could do amazing things in qualifying and then they just fall back. But that race, they didn't have a particularly great qualifying session and they've ended up with 2 points. It just shows how much more important it is to have a decent race car, and they've clearly got that. I've seen a lot of talk. I think it was even a subject of a DTS episode that team principals now probably more beneficial to have someone from an engineering background.
Vill du ha 150 frispins plus 20 000 kronor i välkomstbonus? Välkomna!
Oh wait, we need
Jag har byggt en majestätisk kasinoupplevelse med klassiker som...
Go away, Ad. Okay, we will have it played, but not played. We need to waste the money. Bad ads should pay for the bad ads. Need to remove more of the... See, will it... Come on. Now we can go back.
Background like a James Vowles or whatever that helps push them forward in that sense. And yeah, so far Haas are looking a lot better, and I don't think anyone had on the bingo card that they would be sixth in the World Championship.
But that also in the beginning. Then they could be really bad.
Quite comfortably, because no one else in that bottom thing apart from Yuki has scored a point. So
exactly. And I guess whilst we're speaking about points and midfield to backmarker teams trying to score points, Albon, I think it was written in the stars that he would finish 11th, wouldn't it? And of course, there's a lot of questions which I think we should just discuss. Was it worth?
Yes, it was.
Destroying the morale of Logan Sargent in order to put your best foot forward and try and score points when they didn't score points. The benefit of hindsight is obviously something, but at the same time, if Sargent had finished 11th, we all would have gone, well, Albon would have scored points then, wouldn't they? Oh, that was silly. Why didn't they put Albon in the car?
100%. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, if Sargent had finished 11th, it'll be like, oh, well, Albon would have got 9th. And
Albon would have won.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I mean, James Vowles has already explained it so incredibly well.
So like eloquently. Did you find
he's like a computer? You know, like if you put into Chat GPT to explain the situation, the words he uses and stuff is like he's reading from a script, but it's just like
apart from when he does Drive to Survive, and then the man can't even speak.
He got nervous. He was like,
oh, bless him.
He clearly was like, oh, my family and friends will watch this. Whereas when he's at the track,
probably.
he's just, boss mode.
Yeah, he's what a man. But I did find, that interview that Ted did you feel like Ted did a bit
People
too much?
People from the school maybe will watch him. And then he just, oh shit. The people that I once met could be watching this.
With it. Did you see that? He went.
They clearly were told, you be bad.
My guy's telling you the answers here, and you're like, yeah, but Logan Sargent, he's a prospective world champion.
Logan Sargent, don't we?
Yeah, I'm the voice of the fans here. No, I just felt like it
was a bit awkward.
A bit of a strange interview, but either way, we're moving away from our next segment, which is biggest winner, driver or team.
Ferrari.
Oh, it's got to be Carlos Sainz, hasn't it? I mean, he has won quite literally the race, but also at life. Hopefully, Mercedes, maybe even Red Bull.
No,
who knows?
They will not.
Might have some conversations.
No,
it's not like this is a new thing, though. We know that Carlos can deliver these kind of performances. We've seen it before, but it has to be Carlos for me.
I think it has to be.
Has. No.
Hey. Okay.
I would say we should catch up RB Formula 1 team. Or Ferrari. And then the worst team. Whatever they have. Mercedes will be the bad.
Literally the winner.
The opposite.
But
the opposite question.
The way Haas are going, they could have locked in.
Yeah, for now, but then they will be bad.
6 already. Signed, sealed, delivered.
My God, yeah. I mean, hopefully the 6th down to 10th place team score some points during the year. But yes,
but there's a big chunk of points.
It is
for a team like that when it's so hard to get points. So
I'm surprised you haven't spoken about your other boy, Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah,
dropping a little 8th place in, not even mentioned him once. I thought you would have at least put your burner account in and been like, "Is Yuki Tsunoda going to Red Bull now?" But you haven't. I mean, he actually scored points.
I know.
Didn't finish 15th.
More than Haas had done 3 races. So 6 points in 1 race, and they got I think it's 4 now. 4 points for Haas in 3 races.
I know. I was so convinced that he wasn't gonna
finish 2 seconds behind Stroll.
Yeah, amazing performance from Yuki. I'm so glad he's actually delivered in the race and had a good race to back up his qualifying performances, and he's maybe going a bit under the radar of how a good a season he has, because of course we'll get into him when we say biggest loser, because I'm sure he's in the debate, but I think
wait, what the biggest loser? What do you mean?
Daniel Ricciardo is driving badly. I think Yuki Tsunoda is driving very well. It's not just that Daniel Ricciardo is driving badly, it's because Yuki Tsunoda is doing a really good job. And it's going to be really interesting what they do with him,
the biggest loser?
Red Bull have essentially put faith in him when some would argue they shouldn't have after his disastrous first year. So they've committed all that into him, and now he's showing this real quality and improvement. But they're losing Honda, and is he going to go anywhere? Like, what do they do with him? And would they want him in Red Bull? I personally think that it would be too much of a risk based on his personality. Sadly, I'd love to see it. I'd absolutely love, in a dream world, I'd love to see it. But
great, wouldn't it?
It's just, I just can't see it happening personally.
What?
You just imagine Red Bull looking around, going, "Wait, if we give a driver more than a year, they actually can develop and get better." No way.
Wow.
I mean, better, sure, but they want great drivers, not good drivers. They want Max Verstappen in the car, not Carlos Sainz in the car.
Oh.
Wow, what? Never knew that. Biggest loser then. My biggest loser.
Mercedes.
I wanted. It's difficult, really. Actually, this one. Obviously, Ricciardo is a shout, but he finished 12th, so it's not like the worst result ever. But I mean, his teammates scored some decent points. You've of course got Ocon, who I, did biggest good surprise, and he finished 16th. So I'm feeling a little bit more angry, if anything, with that performance. George Russell, I don't think that's his fault. really.
It's Mercedes, though, isn't it? Surely. Double
Yeah.
DNF.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
points
true,
for a
I
top
guess, yeah,
team.
Mercedes overall, yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah, let's go for Mercedes.
Lost a lot of ground on, you know, if you think that it was Mercedes versus Ferrari in that fight for P2 last year, you know, that's a massive result for Ferrari to get a 1-2 and Mercedes double DNF. You basically,
I mean,
it's
Mercedes,
amazing.
You possibly can. So
I think they're praying to finish any higher than 5th in the constructors at the moment. I think Ferrari are long gone right now, and of course, you know, the
they
big
have
battle
always
being,
been.
you know, this was a great opportunity for Lewis Hamilton to extend his points lead over Ollie Behrman in this race, but it didn't happen. So.
Instead, Stroll's catching him at 1 point now.
I mean, Alonso.
Yeah, Stroll can soon have more points than Lewis
master
Hamilton.
plan of sending Russell into the wall, then got Stroll a few more points as well. So obvious sarcasm. And now let's reflect on the predictions that we made on Wednesday. So as it stands, going into this, it's 5-4 to you, Tommy. Yes?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, well done. No one cares. It's not the end of the season yet. So we're actually giving
no one
you
cares
points,
until
everyone.
I win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 5-4 to you, Tommy, going into this. Biggest good surprise, Esteban Ocon. Now, I think it was very good surprising that he wasn't lapped twice. Thoughts?
I think you could argue it if the word good wasn't in there, because I was also surprised that to finish behind 2 Saubers when they had a year-long pit stop each.
Hey, he also had a long pit stop, Tommy. Don't forget that when you rate his performance, that Ocon had a 20-second pit stop.
Yeah.
So
but,
without that, he would have finished in 6th. So, yeah, no points.
No points. I went for Oscar Piastri, which was looking good.
On the face of it as well. You'd think 4th, okay.
Yeah, like 4th, yeah, good job. But unsurprisingly, I think a few people in the crowd were a bit disappointed when, you know, Lando's on the podium.
Absolutely. Biggest flop? I went for Sergio Perez, which I'm absolutely cashing in. Of course, he did pick up some floor damage, which when he was overtaking Alonso, I believe.
I mean, Hamilton was really also floppy. I mean, his car just died on him. That's really floppy.
But still, didn't really show much pace up until that point. And
Hamilton never shown any pace.
Yeah,
I think that's shocking. Like, it's only one race.
Yeah, only one race. Hamilton have done 3 races and still not shown any fast pace.
I don't want to go too hard on him because he's had a very good start to the season, but
Hamilton have a good
actually
start.
In Biggest Loser, you got to think that Perez should be an option as well, because that is your chance to cash in, not only on just getting a win and getting your confidence back, but he'd be leading the World Championship. He could have actually led the World Championship by a massive margin if he'd won, because he's finished second in both the races. So it's a really big missed opportunity for Perez, and I think, really bad.
Certainly is. So that was mine, and that's definitely a point. What about you?
Speaking of really bad, Daniel Ricciardo, not good at all. Yeah, it's not going well for him, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, he had a lot to do after
What do you
qualifying,
mean?
which was where he
It's going
made
super
that error
great.
with the track limits, and I think after that, he finished 12th, so it's not like he finished behind Ocon. So I'm not going to slander him too bad, but his weekend was pretty much over by the fact he was 10 places behind his teammate.
I think I saw a lot of people sort of commenting on a post that RB did where they're like, great performance from Daniel, came close to points, we'll get him next time, whatever. And it's kind of like, who are you kidding? Like, it was not a good weekend for him. He's finished behind both Hasses.
If all 3 of those DNFs had finished. So not a good weekend for Danny Rick. Pole position, Max Verstappen.
Nope.
Give me that point.
Well, yes.
Love that.
Same.
Perfect. And then shows that we should have been chefing a little bit with this, because we didn't really. Top 3. In 3rd place, I went for Carlos Sainz because I believed in him, and I'm so angry, Tommy. And I said this in funniest tweets because I realised it again. I was so close to putting in biggest good surprise.
Yeah,
I literally wrote it in the sheet and went.
Yeah, I
no,
remember seeing it. Like, oh,
nah, he's gonna. I was like, nah, he's gonna be feeling a little bit worse for wear. We'll give him a chance. And he goes and blooming wins the race. That is, that's really annoyed me. But yeah, 3rd place, no points.
I went for P3 Oscar Piastri, which it was close. Very close.
I love how you put it in capital letters as well. Really shouting that to
that
the
wasn't me.
That you believed Piastri. In second place, I went for Charles Leclerc, which is correct. But how am I not happy about that? How am I not happy about second place Charles Leclerc? Yes, so that's a point. Lovely.
I went for Sergio Perez. No,
definitely not. And
he was far away
in first, and that did not happen.
And Max Verstappen in first did not happen.
That's weird to say out loud, isn't it? That is so weird to say out loud that Max Verstappen did not.
Yeah,
win
we've not.
It
is very strange to be doing predictions and not going. And P1 is Max Verstappen.
You just watch our Japanese Grand Prix predictions now. They are going to be off the rails. Logan Sargent podium. Here we go. One crazy prediction. I went for all Aussies won't do well. Piastri, Ricciardo and Bottas. Now, I feel like that's half a point. Because Ricciardo and Bottas both did absolutely horrendous.
Bottas beat his teammate.
Yeah, but that's because they both had 27-minute pit stops, and it was just a race of who could have a worse pit stop. Come on, half a point.
No, definitely not.
You've got to appreciate.
No,
that's crazy. All right, fine.
My crazy prediction was Albon Q3.
That's so funny that you predicted that, and my guy had to steal a car in order to go and do qualifying.
Steal a car.
I mean, in a nutshell, it's true. So no,
I did love that. Did you see that Alex's savage commentary on Sky that went big viral, where it was Alex Albon's birthday and it came up with the graphic before qualifying, and Alex on the commentary went, "Alex Albon, it's his birthday today. His present, Logan Sargent's car."
He said that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nice present.
That's incredible.
You get to drive in the race. Hello, the guides. Are you a Ferrari fan or a Mercedes fan?
It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram. It had like millions and millions of likes and comments and stuff. So funny.
Oh, Albon, he's a good lad. He's got good humour. Okay, so that is 3 points to me and 2 to you, is it?
Yeah, we're even.
Okay, so it's 8.
No, we'll keep that
7 each.
for now.
7 each going to Japan.
Yes. The Massey title is on again.
We are Masseying this right now. And then, of course, finally, 3 crazy predictions from you wonderful lot. If you want to get involved next time, Matt P1 Tommy on social media, go follow. And when we post a graphic, reply to it. Slosh 4000, there will be contact between Yuki and Danny. Nope, they would have to have shared the same part of the track. Frowning Freeman, Lando podium. Okay, Frowning Freeman, I see you. That's an unbelievable
Lando win, I would say.
Little prediction. And
Rodaf
1899 predicted Max DNF.
The fans haven't got any points so far. And then 2 worldy predictions there. I mean, one of them in particular, Max DNF.
I mean, both of them are pretty sensational. But yeah, Max DNF. I think, didn't we even joke? Years. Didn't we joke and be like, I feel like they say it every week, but Max DNF.
I think we ended the podcast saying, like, they can't win every race. And then here we are.
And they couldn't.
Carlos Sainz goes, oh, yeah, they can't because I win. Can't.
So now we need to find out. I think to finally sort of end this podcast, we do need to figure out who put the crisp packet in Max Verstappen's brake duct. We do need to find out who did that.
Ricciardo.
Surely someone's gone, here you go. Here's a good race. And it wasn't. It was actually would have been better if Max had stayed in the race. So thanks for that.
I know. Shocking. Just, please, like, I just want a really banging race. There's so much to ask for. Just give us a banger. Right? It feels like it's been too long. It's
even worse that we got baited by thinking we were going to have a 4-car fight for the win potentially.
I think Singapore baited us as well, because I think that was the thing from that race that sort of. I'm obviously like buzzing for Carlos, and it is really nice to see a new winner, but a new winner. But you know what I mean. It feels like a new winner when Max doesn't win now. But Yeah, it would have been really cool to see. I was just praying for Charles to fight and basically have how good would a Monza have been for the win?
No, that would have been horrendous.
I don't think any Ferrari fans could have watched it.
No,
but it would have been amazing.
It's funny as well because we were obviously thinking that might have happened, and we went on, which was incredible, last night, which would have been for you Australians this morning. We went on Channel 9 Australian National News, which was very cool.
Yes.
And I just, for banter, said, they were like, oh, so who do you think's going to be on the top 7 of the podium? Tommy was like, yeah, Max Verstappen, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I went, right, screw it. I'm on Australian News. It's going to be Oscar Piastri. And then I pointed to my mini helmet that I've got next to me that was Piastri's. And, they were going, yeah, woo, woo. And at that point, that was, I mean, if both
we
of
said
the
on the
Ferraris
Twitch
had come
watch
together,
along, didn't we? That
yeah.
And that would have been fascinating. Oh, there's so many potential opportunities for really amazing stories there, because if they had
Piastri versus
Lando for the first win,
my God,
I think we needed an alternate universe where it happened.
I love how we're just never happy. Like, we have a Max DNF and we're like, yeah, but what if they were 20 wide into turn 1?
Logan Sargent just booted Alex Albon out his car on the grid, got in and won the race.
Like that famous Le Mans video of that tearing him out of the cockpit. Logan just running down. Anyway, this podcast is going crazily. It's 8:10 in the morning, so we're a little bit doolally at this point. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening, for being part of this P1 fam. We really appreciate you turning up to our Twitch watch-alongs at what might have been a very unsociable hour for you. And yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for Japan. We'll have all of our usual content going out. Remember, P1 live show tickets if you want to come and see me and Tommy in a few weeks' time, get a little bit off the rails, then we'd love to have you there. And Tommy, final thoughts?
Final thoughts?
Yes.
I'm going to just read this tweet out that I've just seen.
Oh, okay.
You can think it's from Chris Medland. It says, Jeddah, Carlos Sainz starts the race but doesn't get to race. Melbourne, Carlos Sainz wins. Melbourne, Logan Sargent starts the race but doesn't get to race. Suzuka? ? Heard it here first.
And you had to ruin the Aussie podcast by calling it Melbourne.
Oh, I did. Oh. I was even joking the whole Twitch watch, I was going Melbourne.
Yeah, I know.
Melbourne. Oh.
And I heard it, I was like, oh no, we've just ruined everything.
Even when we were doing the Australian news, I'm admitting my brain thoughts here. I was like, just call it Albert Park. Just call it Albert Park every time you mention it. When we were on the news, I was like, I'm going to get crucified if I call it Melbourne.
We were so tired at that point as well. I feel like we would have overthought how Albert Park was pronounced and just gone like Alberto Parque.
Alberto Park.
Anyway, that is it. Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Lots of love. Bye.
Oh shit. Let's see. What did I... Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say was the biggest worst opinion that the defending Kevin Magnussen of his great expertly drive and stuff, and then complain that Alonso did a great job. He made someone crash out super easily. And that should be bonus points of defenders. Of making... you made Mercedes score 0 points and you kept your position. Should be seen as super good. Okay, but now we are done with this, we will do some race stuff, and I will be talking about the George Russell Alonso stuff. So let's see what they have to say. The evidence that damned Alonso and in Russell Australia GP crash. So let's see what they will say.
You don't normally see an F1 driver punished for someone crashing behind them without any contact, but Fernando Alonso's driving in the Australian Grand Prix was penalised for exactly that. Alonso was given a 20-second time penalty for the unusual manoeuvre that contributed to George Russell's dramatic last lap crash in Melbourne. Russell lost control of his Mercedes at the turn 6 right-hander and crashed out of 7th place while chasing Alonso, having very suddenly closed on the Aston Martin on the way into the corner. He slid into the gravel and hit the barrier with a big impact that ended with the Mercedes being ricocheted back onto the track and tipped onto its side as it hit its own mangled front wheel. What initially looked like Russell shunting on his own in Alonso's dirty air quickly morphed into something more, as it became clear that Alonso had at least lifted off on the way into the corner. Unsurprisingly, this became very divisive very quickly. Was it a brake test, or was it just classic wily Alonso doing an age-old trick of making the car behind check up, and Russell just got caught out? Well,
yes.
Forget subjective opinions and hot takes. How about cold, hard facts? Because the steward...
Yeah, cold, hard facts. That you have a washed opinion. That's a cold, hard fact, right?
Shared the damning data they used to penalise Alonso for dangerous driving, and there's telemetry we can see as well that makes it crystal clear what happened. The steward's summary of...
Like I said, don't every person, when they have someone behind, drive differently to make the one behind make a mistake?
Not just the incident, but also their reasoning for penalising Alonso was commendably detailed. But before we get into their logic, let's establish the facts. The stewards have access to very clear, detailed telemetry and were able to see exactly...
Yeah, the race have also some stuff, but still they get so washed opinions. So I can't believe... I mean, all the hard facts the race always bring up. It's all so washed.
What Alonso was doing. Their analysis could account for every single lap of the race, and therefore they knew just how different Alonso drove on that final lap compared to the rest of the Grand Prix. Well, we don't have...
Yeah, Kevin Magnussen also drove differently. I mean, the half race, they did drive in certain way, and then the rest of the races drove in another way. Is that true? Should they get a race ban?
Exactly what they looked at, we can pretty much replicate it thanks to the excellent F1 Tempo website, which allows us to compare how Alonso entered turn 6 on the lap Russell crashed compared to the previous lap and put the critical information from the stewards into context. Approaching turn 6, Alonso clearly lifts off the throttle earlier than...
Yeah, nobody have ever done this in Formula 1 when they have someone behind them.
Before, the steward said this happened more than 100 metres earlier than any other lap.
Okay, they say in another lap, but have it happen in another race? That's the greater question.
Even applies the brakes slightly. This data is just a binary on-off measurement, so only shows that the brake is being used, but not the amount of pressure being applied. But the steward said it was minimal enough that braking wasn't the main reason for the car slowing down. Still, we can clearly see Alonso's lifted and braked, but he's also down.
We can clearly see, yes, and have this happened in more races than this one?
Shifted to 6th gear as well, having stayed in 7th gear at this point on every other lap. Having slowed down so much, Alonso needs to accelerate again and even upshift back to 7th before he gets to the corner. Alonso told the stewards that he intended to approach turn 6 differently that lap by lifting earlier and carrying less speed through the corner to get a better exit, but misjudged it, so got back on the throttle to get back up to speed. The stewards admitted they did not have the data to decide whether Alonso's manoeuvre was intended to disturb Russell or was simply a different line to the one he'd previously taken into turn 6. We'll leave you to draw your own conclusions there, but whatever Alonso's intention, his action created, in the words of the stewards, an unusual closing speed between the cars.
So have this still happened in other races, or is this the first time ever in Formula 1 history? That's my question.
Alonso's claim that he was trying to get the best exit out of turn 6 is the one bit of his reasoning that stands up to scrutiny. He was in a close battle with a faster car, battling against battery problems on his own car, and knew that Russell's best chance to overtake on the final lap would be with DRS open along the winding flat-out section from turn 6 to turn 9. By deliberately slowing his pace into turn 6, Alonso would have been hoping to compromise Russell enough to prevent what Alonso no doubt calculated would likely have been a slam dunk overtake. But from the perspective of Russell's car, even if Russell himself wouldn't go this far in what he said to the media, Alonso's driving would have amounted to a brake test. Russell was following only half a second behind the Aston and described Alonso's manoeuvre as erratic in the steward's hearing, explaining that it took him by surprise and closed the speed between the two cars.
Oh, so Alonso succeeded with the surprise.
Unusually quickly, which led to the sudden loss of downforce entering the corner that caused him to crash. Publicly, Russell felt the only potential justification for what Alonso did would have been a genuine technical problem or failure, and although Alonso was struggling with derates from his car's energy recovery system, that doesn't fully explain.
Oh my god, it's almost like the Verstappen and Hamilton 2021, you could say, crash, that I still believe, like, even if, like Hamilton said, I thought Max had a problem. Okay, so if Max have a problem, why do you drive behind him? And that leads you crashing into him. When you can just not drive behind him. If you was, I mean, you chose to drive behind him when he slowed down. And this I would say, not direct similar, but almost.
The specific move he chose to make in this instance. Aston Martin indefinitely postponed its regular post-race media session with team principal Mike Crack following the hearing, so all we know of the team's position on this incident is that it was surprised by the steward's decision, as per the team's press release. In a different part of the same statement, Alonso described the penalty he received as disappointing, claiming that what he did amounted to nothing more than hard but fair racing, and it was what any racing driver would do. And
wait, what? Wait. Really? Do Alonso have some information that shows that other drivers have done this before in Formula 1? No. Surely F1 or FIA have all the information of how people have been driving since the start of Formula 1.
Certainly nothing dangerous. But Alonso issued a much feistier defence of his own driving on social media afterwards, inferring that F1 stewards have no right to question his driving.
Actually true. They should question how Russell crashed out so easily.
Claiming the resultant crash for Russell was the only reason the incident was investigated at all, and drawing
actually true
comparisons with his epic defensive drives of the past, claiming this sort of thing is part of the art of motorsport.
Yeah. How did he drive when he kept Lewis Hamilton behind in, I don't know what race it was, but it was the race when Ocon won. Did Alonso not drive in a way in the beginning, and then Lewis Hamilton came behind him and he now drive more slowly? That never happened.
The major problem here is that Alonso's public defence of what he did omits something crucial that he did admit to the stewards. He, very uncharacteristically for Alonso, made a mistake. Remember, the steward's judgment revealed that Alonso's case was he always planned to slow earlier and to a greater degree than usual for this corner in order to maximise his exit, but he got it slightly wrong and had to take extra steps to get back up to speed. This is the point that completely
Yeah, people never do mistakes in Formula 1. I mean, we didn't see Alex Albon crashing out because of a mistake. No. It did not happen. We have not seen almost Lewis Hamilton crash. No.
Does Alonso's defence of his actions, because that act of deliberately slowing down and speeding up again approaching a high-speed corner is something you'd only expect to see during a safety car period or a formation lap, not the final racing lap of a Grand Prix. Racing etiquette.
Wait, do you mean it's more likely to do a mistake in the beginning than in the end? So there's no information that Ayrton Senna did a crash in Monaco because he made a mistake? No.
Or a formation lap, not the final racing lap.
Fuck, the Washington pin and come on.
Is something you'd only expect to see during a safety car period or a...
God damn it.
His defence of his actions, because that act of deliberately slowing down and speeding up again approaching a high-speed corner is something you'd only expect to see during a safety car period or a formation lap, not the final racing lap of a Grand Prix. Racing etiquette dictates that checking up a rival by going extra slowly through a critical corner or section of a circuit so as to delay them is a bit naughty, but part of what Alonso calls the art of motorsport. But even if you think Alonso's intentions were entirely noble here, and he in fact wasn't trying to unduly influence Russell's race in the slightest, Alonso at the very least made a massive misjudgment.
Okay, sure.
Something more befitting of a rank amateur with no F1 experience than a two-time champion.
Okay, and Russell crashed out. Should he also be questioned if he... I mean, how many years have we been in Formula 1 and then he crashed out? Oh, Alex Albon.
Who is widely considered to be one of the very best drivers of his generation. The stewards were very clear in saying that Alonso had the right to alter his approach.
Lewis Hamilton in Silverstone. Did he get a penalty because he made Max Verstappen crash out? And he's a 7-time world champion and he did that. Wow. Can people with long history in Formula 1 make bad calls? I never heard about that. Lies.
Reached this corner and couldn't be held responsible for whatever dirty air negatively affected Russell's Mercedes. But they were also very clear that by his own admission, Alonso chose to do something with whatever intent that was extraordinary. Lifting, braking, downshifting and all the other elements of the manoeuvre over 100 metres earlier than previously, and to a much greater extent than was needed to simply slow a bit earlier than usual for the corner. So
I still want to know, did Kevin Magnussen do this also? I think from the race it was a great drive by Kevin Magnussen to do exactly what Alonso have now done, right? Is this maybe a really big washed opinion from the race? No.
Alonso is patently wrong to try to dismiss this incident as trivial and conflate it with some of his great races of the past. This was not some heroic defensive performance crowned with a particularly clever tactic. It was a moment of madness, not befitting a driver.
What do you mean madness? Oh my god, it's fucking washed. Still, I want to know, did he do the same? They showed.
Driver, a performance crown.
Did he do the same against Lewis Hamilton? Did he brake earlier? Did he do some stuff to make Hamilton do mistakes? If yes, fuck are you talking about? So fucking
earlier than usual for the corner. So Alonso is patently wrong to try to dismiss this incident as trivial and conflate it with some of his great races of the past. This was not...
He didn't do that to Michael Schumacher. Surely he didn't brake early to make Michael Schumacher make a mistake. No, that would never happen.
Some heroic defensive performance crowned with a particularly clever tactic. It was a moment of madness, not...
Madness to even call it. Madness. Fucking... Yeah, the race is back again with their weird opinions.
Fitting a driver of his standing. The stewards concluded that what Alonso...
Yeah, what do you say about Lewis Hamilton and in Silverstone? I mean, if Alonso is madness now, that Lewis Hamilton, I mean, is psychopath. Lewis Hamilton, the new psychopath in Formula 1? Question mark? Oh, they should really try that out.
Did in Melbourne was at the very least potentially dangerous, given the high-speed nature of that point of the track. We'd go so far as to say,
oh, like in Silverstone, in that corner, that you did that maneuver, Lewis Hamilton, you psychopath, disgusting human. Should we all call him that? Well, a psychopath would drive like that. And then that's not a surprise. It's Lewis Hamilton that was the psychopath, right? New fish in the collection. No. Fucking lightning strike. Purple, black, purple, white. Nice. And it's Sunstreak. Okay. Man, I need to have one shortcut box for every type of fish. Go away, lightning. You've already ruined so much here. Now look. This is what lightning strikes do to your trees. And here we also have a tree that are gone because of lightning strike. And also, this is what you also can get if it's lightning strike. Invisible rains. What could that mean? Nope. One more chicken. Oh. It done. Back to fishing. And listen to more about the psychopath Lewis Hamilton. No, it was Alonso that we're talking about.
It was dangerous, unquestionably, and that Alonso 100% deserved to be penalised.
Yeah, like Lewis Hamilton, the psychopath, disgusting from Great Britain. He should be banned from Formula 1. Oh, we can skip it.
The steward said they had not considered Russell's crash when deciding Alonso's fate, which is in keeping with the general principle of not allowing the consequences of an incident to impact a decision. Officials always try to focus on the alleged offence itself. You might think that's nonsense, and that if Russell hadn't shunted, Alonso wouldn't get in trouble at all. Remember, this is exactly what Alonso himself said on social media, and if you read the steward's report a certain way, that might only support your position. They referred to the harsher penalty guidance that has made 10 seconds the baseline penalty for 2024, and how they consider any aggravating circumstances.
Yeah, but does it say that Lewis Hamilton was a psychopath? You should say somewhere here.
To make that penalty more severe in certain cases. With Alonso, the stewards felt that actively choosing to perform this unusual manoeuvre at this point met the threshold of an aggravating circumstance, as opposed to a simple mistake. So, does that mean Alonso was punished for Russell crashing? Not quite. The aggravating circumstance is more likely the severity of the offence itself, creating a potentially dangerous scenario, and that existed regardless of whether Russell actually crashed. The presence of Russell behind is absolutely a factor, because you need a second car there for Alonso to be risking anything dangerous. But Alonso's only
like the psychopath Lewis Hamilton in 2021 Silverstone, right?
Been judged and punished on everything he did up to the point Russell went
like Lewis Hamilton 2021 in Silverstone, the psychopath.
Off the road. If Alonso messed about with his lines or his braking points or his throttle inputs to a less severe degree, it might have fallen within the bounds of cheeky or ruthless or hard but fair. He went beyond that, and the stewards felt he crossed a line in doing so. While we sometimes think consequences should be taken into consideration, it can also be a good thing that they aren't, as it means problematic driving can be tackled proactively rather than only ever reacting to crashes and drivers risking being hurt. It's just in this case there was a dramatic outcome as well. Alonso obviously disagrees.
Like Silverstone 2021, some psychopath made a really dangerous move against Max Verstappen.
With the outcome, but the indication is his Aston Martin team has accepted it and will not be appealing. That may be because it didn't actually cost the team that much at all. Alonso's 20-second penalty in lieu of a drive-through dropped him from 6th to 8th, but teammate Lance Stroll had finished 7th. So he inherited Alonso's place, Alonso only drops back 2 positions, and Aston Martin's points haul from the race is only cut from 14 to 12. Whether you agree with the decision or not, that's a
I don't agree, and I think it's beautiful that Mercedes got 0 points.
Pretty low cost outcome for one of your drivers being found guilty of dangerous driving.
Like the psychopath Lewis Hamilton in 2021 in Silverstone, right? The race agree? They should. I mean, Alonso was madness. because he's have driven in Formula 1 so much. So Lewis Hamilton should be a psychopath, right? Man, one day your chicken will die. Or just disappear. Oh yeah, okay, let's see. And we have one more the race. Oh my god, no. Oh, okay, so this was painful to watch. And now it's to more painful stuff.
Seeing out his...
Why Ferrari's abandoned F1 driver is now a Red Bull driver? I don't... Why would he be on Red Bull's radar? Surely keeping Max Verstappen will be the highest priority ever. Oh. And they can just also just bring up Ricciardo. Why Carlos Sainz?
Seeing out his final year at Ferrari after being
oh shit! I need to switch. Now.
Seeing out his final year at Ferrari after being dumped over the winter, in need of surgery during the second race weekend of 2024, still unemployed for next year, and now the driver who has ended Max Verstappen's early season domination.
Oh my God,
this is a weird time to be Carlos Sainz. The driver Ferrari's abandoning has had a great start to the season either side of having his appendix removed, but he still doesn't know where he'll be racing in 2025. That's despite being the only non-Red Bull driver to win a race in the last 18 months or so. Sainz was the man who ended the team's dream of a perfect season in 2023 with his Singapore Grand Prix victory, which was the last time someone other than Max Verstappen had won before Sainz's triumph in the 2024 Australian Grand Prix. Red Bull Racing boss Christian Horner joked that Sainz appears to be our nemesis. Well, Christian, there is one way to stop him from stopping you winning. Sign him up. And Sainz does appear to be on Red Bull's radar.
Why?
Again. He was a Red Bull junior driver who spent the first 3 years of his F1 career driving for Red Bull's junior team. But he didn't have a future at Red Bull Racing, so he forged his own path outside the Red Bull family. But Horner's at least hinted at having an interest in bringing Sainz back, and not just with the comment we...
We have interest in Ricciardo, Lawson... who more? Alex Albon. Sebastian Vettel.
We just mentioned. The Australian Grand Prix was a bad weekend for the main contenders to be Verstappen's 2025 teammate. Sergio Perez's strong start to the year came to a disappointing halt at the worst possible time for Red Bull, given Verstappen retired from the Grand Prix, while his primary opponent Daniel Ricciardo had a terrible home event for the second Red Bull team RB. We should mention Ricciardo's teammate Yuki Tsunoda.
But he could have a good time. If the qualifying went well, then he could maybe got some points.
Was excellent and scored RB's first points of the season, and in a just world, he'd be more on Red Bull's radar than he seems to be. And this is where Sainz comes in, because Horner was asked if Tsunoda's being overlooked, and the team boss turned that into a suggestion that Sainz could be an option. He said,
it could be an option, yeah. Mick Schumacher could also be an option. Kevin Magnussen can also be an option. Just because you could be an option doesn't mean you are an option.
Yuki's a very quick driver, we know that, but we want to field the best pairing that we can at Red Bull
like
Racing, and sometimes you've got to look outside the pool as well. You've had a very fast, unemployed driver win the race, so the market is reasonably fluid with certain drivers. The fact Horner turned a Tsunoda question into an answer that brought Sainz into the conversation was surely deliberate. So Horner was asked, would you take Sainz back? And the answer, based on a performance like that, you couldn't rule any possibility out.
So, not a yes. Just maybe.
Red Bull is not going to rush its driver decision for 2025, but it would be negligent for any team with a vacancy, including Red Bull, to not consider signing Sainz.
Okay. Should Aston Martin... who more? Yeah, there's only Aston Martin that's up there. Oh, Mercedes also. So shouldn't Aston Martin and Mercedes also be interesting in Carlos Sainz?
Horner's demand is that Red Bull fields the best pairing we can, and there's no doubt Sainz would be an upgrade on Perez and is a more convincing alternative than Ricciardo or Tsunoda. He's a very
Wait, is this something he said, or is this just the race talking point?
25, but it would be negligent for any team with a vacancy, including Red Bull, to not consider Sainz.
So they can mention just Mercedes and Aston Martin also.
Sainz. Horner's demand is that Red Bull fields the best pairing we can, and there's no doubt Sainz would be an upgrade on Perez and is a more convincing alternative than
It still sounds like this is just fantasy from the race.
Ricciardo or Tsunoda. He's a very good driver who was
good, not great. That's the difference.
By many outside the F1 paddock and more than a few in it when Ferrari picked him to replace Sebastian Vettel in 2021. Intelligent, hard-working, wonderfully adaptable and faster than you think, he's performed well against Verstappen as rookies at Toro Rosso, Lando Norris at McLaren and now Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. It's probably the slightly underwhelming year and a bit at Renault after Sainz forced that exit from Red Bull on his own terms in late 2017 that has coloured people's opinions of him slightly. And he maybe misses the last fraction of pace to be a consistently...
Yeah, that's why maybe Red Bull don't want him.
...mega qualifying threat. But he is a formidable all-round driver.
Who good driver, not great.
Has proven that at his peak,
Red Bull
he can compare very well to some of the most highly rated stars
like Sergio Perez
in F1. One potential hurdle for a Red Bull return is that Sainz was, if anything, too good alongside Verstappen as rookies. There was a lot of tension there, and not exactly between the two drivers, who have a strong relationship. Their fathers, Carlos Sainz Sr. and Jos Verstappen, are big fixtures in their careers, and the respective entourages ended up creating quite a toxic atmosphere at Toro Rosso. Not our words, the words of Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko. That played a part in Sainz feeling like he didn't have a Red Bull racing future years ago, and it might not be something Red Bull is keen to revisit. There are also some close to Sainz who suspect Max Verstappen wouldn't welcome Sainz there either. Maybe because it risks being disruptive, but maybe because Sainz is too good to be the kind of...
yeah, too good. Or he will not be good.
Easily beaten number 2 driver that Verstappen's enjoyed having since Ricciardo left at the end of 2018.
Man, Max Verstappen would really hate having Ricciardo back, right? All the laughs they have now will just disappear. Ricciardo will go from smiling to... angry face.
Red Bull's perfect start to 2024 went up in flames quite literally in Australia as Verstappen retired early on when a malfunctioning right rear brake caught fire, which gave Sainz the perfect chance for an unlikely audition. Ferrari has looked the best placed team to sneak a win this season, but its 1-2 finish in Melbourne was obviously a surprise and aided by Red Bull's meltdown. But it's not just the nature of how Red Bull has dominated 2024 so far that made Sainz's win a shock. It was possible that Sainz would miss this race entirely. After all, he only had surgery to have his appendix removed 2 weeks ago. Sainz withdrew from the previous race weekend in Saudi Arabia, where he was replaced by Ollie Bearman after falling ill. He initially thought it was food poisoning, but was diagnosed with appendicitis on Friday morning in Jeddah and underwent surgery immediately, before setting his sights on an instant return to the grid in Australia. He knew he wouldn't be at 100% owing to his compromised preparation. The first week of his recovery was difficult and he wasn't able to do any significant training, so relied heavily on his underlying fitness levels this weekend. And he coped very well. Physically, he was mostly fine, aside from the wonderfully colourful description that when you're pulling high G-forces, you feel your insides kind of moving around more than before, and he was also feeling stiff by the end of the race. Performance-wise, Sainz clearly didn't suffer. Teammate Leclerc has started 2024 in good form, especially in qualifying, and in the middle of the weekend, this had looked like pole was there for his taking. But it was Sainz who coped better than Leclerc with how the Ferrari reacted to the softest compound Pirelli C5 tyre used in qualifying, alongside higher track temperatures and changes in wind speed and...
Okay. I mean, that one race. A full season. Who will be the better one?
Direction. That's why Sainz was the Ferrari driver on the front row and best placed to blast past Verstappen as the Red Bull ailed. He was then completely untroubled as he looked after his tyres and his body to manage a small but decisive advantage to the end. It obviously had echoes of Sainz's Singapore win last year, being in the right place at the right time to grab a big opportunity. Leclerc does tend to have the edge over Sainz in qualifying, and if you had a title challenging car, you would probably back Leclerc to do more with it over a season and lead the charge. But Sainz would be really close behind and would have plenty of days, like in Australia, where he's the class of the field. In Australia specifically, Leclerc lost feeling and confidence in the car at a vital moment before qualifying. That put him on the back foot in the race, as it cost him track position and meant he struggled with tyre management at times.
It is all talking point that Ferrari did a really big mistake signing Lewis Hamilton and not Carlos Sainz, or would they say Lewis Hamilton is better than Carlos Sainz? I mean, who won the race and who didn't win a race the past 3 years?
Times relative to Sainz. Afterwards though, Leclerc conceded that Sainz simply deserved the victory more than him. Asked what he could have done to steal the win, Leclerc replied, just being better. Following Formula 1 as closely as we do requires a lot of time on the road. That's when a VPN like private internet access really comes in handy. Want to send an email from your Gmail account at the Chinese
What do you mean Chinese?
Grand Prix? Can't be done without a really good VPN. VPNs are basically apps you can download that encrypt your internet.com/the race to grab an 83% discount and get 4 months completely free. We mentioned earlier that this wasn't the best time for Perez or Ricciardo to go missing, just as Sainz caught the eye of their boss. We'll be getting into Ricciardo's worrying looking situation in a separate full video on this channel soon, so subscribe if you aren't already to make sure you don't miss it. As for Perez, to his credit, he and Red Bull would have won either of the first 2 races of 2024 had Verstappen retired then. But he wasn't there to pick up the pieces when Verstappen actually did.
So Perez is washed, he should leave, he's bad, just Verstappen was right.
Sometimes Perez is the driver Red Bull needs to pick up the slack. Last year, he very often wasn't. And where was he after all this in Australia? A limp 5th. Not just behind the 2
why is that? I mean, where is Lewis Hamilton all these 3 years? Have not won anything. And he should be... And he will be in the Ferrari. What does that say about Sainz then?
Ferraris, but behind both McLarens as well. He admitted this was a bad weekend, although without a grid penalty for impeding Nico Hülkenberg in qualifying, he'd have started the race 3rd, and his Grand Prix would surely have been very different. As it was, he struggled in traffic and made very little progress, and it's usually Sundays where he shows greater value to Red Bull. Perez seemed to suggest afterwards that Ferrari would have beaten Verstappen even without the world champion's retirement, which feels like a bit of a convenient argument to make. Horner only said that Perez himself would have struggled to beat Ferrari without his grid penalty. Horner did at least offer possible mitigation for why Perez finished a minute off the win and 20 seconds behind the next driver ahead of him. He said Perez probably wasn't aware that he'd picked up an errant visor tear off passing Fernando Alonso mid-race that got lodged in a sensitive place on the floor and caused a significant load loss. But even before that, Perez certainly didn't look like mounting a charge to victory and admitted he felt the balance was always a step off. In the grand scheme of things, Red Bull's only missed out on another win 3 races into a 24 race season where it clearly has the fastest car and will most likely win both titles with ease. But Red Bull hasn't dominated F1 for the last few seasons by taking a what does one win matter anyway attitude. Perez did play a part in not being there when Red Bull needed him to be, just when a new contender to take his seat reminded everybody just how good he is at being in the right place at the right time.
Okay, that was, I think, a lot of copium to Carlos Sainz, a lot of copium that Red Bull want to have Carlos Sainz. Oh my god, the race stuff is sometimes Not fun to watch. So many worst opinions you can hear from them. I thought P1 had worst opinions, but no, the race is even worse. That's finally done, so we can actually do something more fun in the end. And it's, of course, Kym Illman and his 2024 Australian Grand Prix smashes record. I have not heard any records, so that could be interesting to hear.
G'day, what a marvellous event. G'day, what...
Do you only but say good day? I think he does. Okay, let's bring it back.
G'day,
Good
what
day, mate.
A marvellous event the Australian Grand Prix was. Now, you probably saw plenty on TV about it, but in this video, I'm going to share with you what I saw behind the lens.
Behind the lens? Did you get a lot of great photos of Lewis Hamilton walking away from his car?
This was a record-breaking crowd. 452,000 people over the 4 days. One of the big talking points prior to the race was that fans weren't going to be allowed on the track for the invasion after the race.
What?
A lot of comments on my post said, yeah, try stopping us. It'll never happen. We'll be
fish?
out there. Well, no one was out there. This was the sight when I turned around as I was shooting the podium ceremony. So how did the authorities stop people getting on the track? Well, the big openings were all fenced with 1.8 metre high fences. The photo windows were boarded up just after the race finished, and even on pit lane, these windows here were boarded up with these purple boards. Last year I remember seeing people trying to kick them down, but there was certainly none of that this year. Now, it was disappointing, and it may not be forever, but over the weekend, that's what we had to deal with. Just before the end of the race, I was waiting down in pit lane. There was about 200 people in a queue. And of course we saw George's crash on TV, and then I'm guessing no more than 30 seconds later, that safety car roared out on track. And that's the first time I've seen how quickly those cars get moving. But of course the big story was Carlos doing the impossible, coming back 16 days after a major operation to win his third F1 race of his career. And of course, he has no drive for next year sorted. Of course, that win has done him no harm in his quest to get a drive next year. If you watched my previous video, you would have seen the celebration for Carlos out the front, and Charles too, out the front of the Ferrari hospitality suite. But there were also 3 other sellies going on. Lando Norris was out in pit lane celebrating third. Up at V.
No Oscar Piastri, Fitzbandman. Shouldn't he also be at least celebrating?
Carb, they celebrated Yuki's first points, and at Haas they
go away, Haas.
Had a double points finish, which was
a
fantastic result for a team that I thought might end up bottom of the ladder this year. And about an hour prior,
hopefully they will in the end.
That Nico Hulkenberg was absolutely on fire after his...
Surely Alpine and Stake F1 team Kick Sauber will be good. I mean, as soon as they just fix their pit stops, then they will be fighting against Mercedes.
His performance. My biggest post of the weekend was this one. After the race, Lando going over to Carlos to give him a hug. 44,000 odd likes at the time of me going to print, and for my audience, that's right up there. The average, probably about 10,000, but that's the sort of stuff I look for in my photography, the emotion of this sport. Valtteri Bottas, of course, an honorary Australian. He was in a rather interesting t-shirt celebrating snags, sausages, and in particular, the sausage sizzle, which is a major thing at a hardware store in Australia here called Bunnings. You can get a sausage and a piece of bread there for a couple of bucks just about anywhere in Australia on the weekend. Now, where possible, I'm finding a fan at each place I go to tell me how much they're spending on their F1 excursion.
So I spent $3,000 in total, $1,000 on accommodation, $1,000 on tickets, $1,000.
Man, you can buy so much Lego. Why waste money on when you can see on the TV and play and not play but build Lego
and transport.
No, at time. Go away.
Been on my mind quite for some time.
50 seconds.
All these feelings keep making me smile.
Not a new fish.
Trygg Hansa. Trygghet för livet.
Yeah, go away.
Du vet känslan när verk...
Did you see Ted's face here? Now, if you don't...
Wait, what? No, I've not seen it.
Here? Now, if you don't watch Sky Sport, you probably wouldn't have seen Ted Kravitz, but have a look here, on the side of his neck here. A whole lot of chocolate. Well, I only realised later in the evening that it come from him actually celebrating a birthday and for some reason putting one side of his face on that cake. Girlfriends and family members at the track, well, we had a few this weekend. We had Max's girlfriend Kelly Piquet. We had Rebecca Donaldson supporting Carlos Sainz. Oscar Piastri's girlfriend Lily Znaimer was there. Kika joined Pierre in Melbourne, and before the race, we spent a couple of days in Sydney, even enjoying Bondi Beach.
New. It's looking new. Parrotfish. Yeah, there should be more lighter than what I usually see. Huh, so many of the same. Okay, weird.
Beach. Carlos Sainz Sr. was supporting his son. Joe and Grace Ricardo were there supporting their son Daniel. And Oscar Piastri's mum and dad.
No! Their support didn't get him points.
At the track, along with his grandparents who made those beautiful rum balls and lamingtons for the McLaren team. Now, a number of you have made comments about the increased number of videos you're seeing this year. Well, last year I'd probably averaged 3 a week. This year, I think we can get it to 6, especially on those weeks when there's an event at the track, because I've now been given video accreditation rights at the track. But there are 2 major stipulations, and you might have already noticed. Is 1, I can only do 10 minutes of content per track day, and 2, I have to be the subject of the video. Now, my goal is to have videos up as quickly as possible after the final session. Within 3 hours would be great. Now, sometimes I'm not going to get that. Like yesterday was a bit lax. It was 5.5 hours. But where possible, you'll be getting a first look at these videos, and quickly. Now, here's your chance to win $1,900 worth of amazing goodies. This is the same gear that I gave to every one of the F1 drivers this weekend. Entries open to everyone, and I'll get to how you enter in just a second. The thing is, I see people every race.
I would say nothing looked interesting in the bags.
Something from drivers.
No
the media
labels,
wants an interview.
No.
I want a photograph. Fans want a selfie or an autograph. And in general, drivers are pretty giving. So last week, I decided to give them something to welcome them to Australia, my country. Everyone got one of these gift bags. They were all surprised. Everyone loved it. A couple even gave me a hug. Pierre Gasly tested out this draft top, which turns a can into a drinking vessel. It's a nifty bit of kit.
No, it's not. Not if you live in a civilized country. Then you ruin what you should do with a can after you have finished it. But apparently Australia isn't part of the civilized world, like the USA.
Yuki loved this Fujifilm Instax camera, and they were a real hit with the fans out on the Melbourne Walk when I took their photos at the end of each of the nights. There was a Leatherman multi-purpose tool for each driver, engraved with their name on it. A stunning pair of wireless headphones from Bose, and these were a real hit. A black rapid camera strap, the same straps that I've been using for, I'm guessing, 8 years now. All of those drivers got a quad lock cover, not the Oscar Piastri one, plus a whole lot of kit that enables them to mount that to bikes, car windows, etc. At least one driver used their brand new UUI strap on the grid on Sunday, but I didn't get close enough to smell if any of them had used the diptyque fragrance that came with the Qatar Airways
Yeah, that wouldn't be weird at all.
Amenities kit. Now, how do you get your hands on all of these gifts packed in this magnificent Belroy Market tote bag? Simple. 1, be subscribed to YouTube. 2, follow me on Instagram and find this post. And then, on Insta, tag a friend and tell us your favourite driver. You'll find all the details there, and I'll pick a winner on April 2nd this year. Fashion-wise, Lewis Hamilton, and he did the Melbourne Walk on at least 3 of the days. Now, in the past, I don't think he's done that many days on the walk, but this year he really lapped it up. Show Guan Yu looked good. Daniel Ricciardo wore casual gear on 2 days. We had Miles Chamley-Watson, the fencer, decked out in pretty colourful gear, and Chloe Stroll stood out in the crowd. And if you happen to come to a race in the future and you're well dressed in the paddock, I will be looking for you as well.
You will.
Have a look at this photo here. See this gentleman right up the very back here? His name's Taco. He's from the Netherlands, and he's with me right now, and he has a very interesting story to tell. Now, why were you in that team photo?
It was my 48-year-old dream to be present at every single race around the world in one season. Last year I finally did that. A lot of people thought it was a great idea and wanted to make the best out of it. And Red Bull was really extraordinary in that, because they, at the last race, surprised me with the Red Bull outfit, and then said you will be on the pit stop practice. So I did that, and then so to top it off, on the end I was allowed to be on the team photo. They called me and said you have to go into the middle. So I did. Over the whole year, so many doors were opened by the team and F1, which I never knew they would be open.
Oh my god, and he must be really lucky, because after this, Red Bull will no longer exist. They will have been vanished. The doomsday caused by Christian Hornet. He will have memory for life. Oh, look like a really new fish. But I think I've seen this before. So, if this fish is still somewhere, in there, then he will get that brother or sister.
I was so privileged to be able to experience all that I wanted to thank the team.
Yeah, you thank them fast, because after Max DNF, Jos Verstappen will probably nuke the Red Bull now.
In an appropriate way, but that was almost like impossible. So I got a t-shirt made with a hand-drawn painting of all the members of the team. I was supposed to give that to somebody of the Red Bull team on the roof of the hospitality of Red Bull. So I'm going up there thinking that I was going to do that, and when I arrive up on the roof, I look, what? There was Max, Checo, Christian, and Jonathan Wheatley. Finally, here he is. We can thank him. I said, what? I thought I was going to thank you. No. So, it was super surprised.
That is a...
Man, sounds like amazing. And I think... And after that, Red Bull will no longer exist. They look like the same fish. Let's see. Lime light blue. Lime light blue. Spotty. Oh no, that's wrong fish. Sign yellow. Oh. Blue red. Oh shit, I have too many fishes. We need to place them down.
Stunning story, and hats off to you, mate. Well done.
Wow, thank you so much.
Just before I go, let me tell you that these Jackie Stewart prints are now signed and numbered, and they are available at the KymIllman.com website. I spent about 15 minutes with Jackie in the Rolex suite having them signed on the weekend, and we will raise a fair whack of money for the Race Against Dementia charity. Let it be said that I'm indebted to you for getting this far into the video, and before you leave, could you please subscribe if you have not yet done so?
I can't.
And you'll find a whole lot of my other content.
It's against my prison balance.
Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. One of the world's best journalists here from the Netherlands, Jackie Martins. And any scoops, Jackie, at the moment?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's quite. There's some peace in the team right now, isn't it, Red Bull?
Yes.
So it's all peace. All peace.
Okay, that's done. Let's do the last stuff, and he just plants the fishes down somewhere. Where do I have some space? Yeah, here it can be. We can place all the fishes. Okay, let's see. How many different? Okay, 3 difference. Okay, we can put every boring fishes with just normal names in one. That was not many. Okay, and then we all the B stuff. And C. We can G. We need more B. Ooh, F maybe also. Say A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C. Then we have G. White, light blue, purple, lime. Let's see. Light blue. Light blue. Light blue, blue. Light blue, black. Wait. Light. Yeah, light blue. Should have. Wait, light blue. Oh my god, they should be in a different. Where do we have the special fishes? Special ones. Are they in the Schulke box? Nope. Snow. Should remove all the snow in all these weird places. Here we have the most expensive stuff ever. No, it can't be here. No, it's just potion. Bucket of salmon, really important fish. Nope. Lot of diamonds. grass. Or dirt, more or less. Venus. I mean, man, I have already... But I need to look for them again. So annoying. More snow. Go away. You should just stone be. And the snow here. Nope. Okay, where can I place? And there's just food. Yeah, now I feel I remember. The import the fishes in trash area. Now look. Important stuff. Yeah, here we have it. And there we have a one black thing. Okay. Man, I should. Can I? Hopefully I will remember it for the next time. Okay, but we end it here. Fixing with the fishes will be a tomorrow problem. Oh, that could be done before we end. Is the foxes alright? We have a good population. Yep, they have not died off yet. That's nice. Oh no. The white fox will be the last. No, creeper. Will be one of the last animals to get their zoo ready. Or place to live in ready. Because I need to mine out 1, 2, 3 areas before they can get the place. Oh, and that would also be something. Oh my god, the new wolves. Rabbit and wolves. Man, how many new wolves will it be? Oh my god, my plan need to be changed also. In how I will place the animals. Now one area need to have almost one wolf. Yeah, my slime farm is so amazing. And one day some ocelots will be in here. Where do we have the amazing brown panda? No, you can't go up here. We need to go up here. Then I should also look at what kind of fish I already have. Because I have some interesting fishes here. Oh! So that I would say will be tomorrow. Fixing with the fishes. Ugh, that will be boring. There we have it. Brown panda. I'm still annoyed that one of the pandas didn't want to live anymore. And how can this be an unsafe place for a ruling panda? An happy, playful panda. Yeah. All the time I spent to get each of the different pandas, and then someone just want... They have changed the pandas. Then I never have seen this before. That is high up in the back and low in the front. I mean, after... Let's see, do I have the stats? Nope. Is my nice stat left? Where do I have the pandas? No, it's gone. Yeah. The only nice stat I still have left is the horse stat. There we have it. 7,041 horses killed. To get one horse that can jump 5 blocks high. But really I need to get back my stat on pandas. Because that's something. To get one brown panda. 1 month of just killing pandas to get one brown panda. Totally worth it. Okay, but yeah, tomorrow doing some... Yeah, should I maybe be... standing in the fish area? Do I even have more buckets? Yep, 32. Hopefully that will be enough. Yeah, that's a normal fish. Maybe that's also is a normal fish. The cyan pink. The green and blue one is clearly a normal fish. Yellow and purple normal. The other yellow and purple. Oh, maybe not. It could be Magenta. Then it's new. Black and blue is normal. Oh my gosh, so many fishes. Have they... feel like they have changed the fishes also. Feel like more normal. That's also a normal fish. Black one. And a white and a red. And a grey and red. Or white. See, where should I be standing? Is it here? Yes. Yeah, here we'll end it. Let's see, what fun could happen tomorrow? Oh my god, we have disgusting. We have the race podcast to listen to. That will be something. Not fun at all, probably. And of course, the Nation podcast from F1. And maybe their live post-race. Hopefully no Formula 1 music will be played, because then I could be in big trouble. And Williams have made some clips or videos that could maybe be fun to watch, but man, if they got points it would be more fun. And sometime I will do the IndyCar race, or what the fuck you call that. Something happened in IndyCar, I can say. I don't know what you can call that. The 1 million challenge, it was... I mean, I'm a big believer that IndyCar is already boring from the start. Make it more boring, that's a big sin. Not fun at all to watch. Then so do we have some more fun stuff? Maybe when we're watching Williams we can watch Aiden Milward with his spreadsheets and sparse opinion on Williams catastrophe Australia GP week. But until then I would